Welcome to the Thursday Checkdown, Week 3 edition. And I want to welcome in my co-host, Rick Brusuelas, to join us here. Rick and I are going to be going over what we did last week, which was actually pretty darn good. I want to report first on my Bull Rush experience because our Joe is actually somebody from Bull Rush. We'll get to that a little bit later. But I'm in the NFL $100,000 Survivor League, and you can actually win real money in that, Rick. And it's not costing me anything. They gave me $100,000 fictional money to gamble with each week. And at the end of the year, the highest scoring person is going to win 50 grand. And there's going to be other prizes that go out too. So week 1, I sucked. You remember that. I was really bad. I bet everything on Detroit, and Detroit lost to the Packers, which Iggy, our producer, loved and I hated. But after, that horrendous week 1, I rebounded. I did. I finished 23rd. Now, we're not talking about just 25 people here. We're talking over 100 people. I finished 23rd, and I finished with a 4.29% gain. I made $4,292.18 on 15 picks. So I'm going to see if I can do better this week. So I think we're ready to go to the next segment. Iggy, what is it? Hey, this week's pro is Queen Gina Noble. And I call her Queen Noble because last year she won that gorgeous crown by winning the Queen's Classic in the FF Expo at the Hall of Fame. So, Gina, tell us a little bit about yourself, okay?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I am the reigning queen of the Queen's Classic. But it's cracking me up, like the parade wave. I've been playing fantasy football for several years now. I hardly call myself a pro. I mean, every once in a while you get lucky and you get it right. But
reigning champ. Yeah.
I am a champ. I somehow manage to win at least something every year. There's always luck. But I get to be a part of the sports affiliation, and I pop in here and there. I got to take this thing off as much as I'd love to wear it. It's not really made for wearing. But yeah, I get to be a part of the sports affiliation and join in and have fun with you guys. I've been able to make it to the Fantasy Football Expo for the past 2 years, and I've met some absolutely amazing people in this industry, and I have just really enjoyed the experience of fantasy football and everything that it has to offer. But just love being here.
Well, and you got that from Crown Champs, who gave me my ring too.
That's right.
Oh, there you go. So you can see it says GOAT on it, Fantasy Football GOAT. People at Crown Champs are really nice, so check them out. But we were talking about Bull Rush a little bit earlier, and our Joe is Davin Spurrier from Bull Rush. Bring him to the middle, make him big. Davin, tell us a little bit about what you do for Bull Rush.
Yeah, of course. I do all the social media and community management for Bull Rush. So we have a bunch of affiliates. We have a bunch of influencers. I manage all of them. And anything that you see on social media, if you follow us on any social medias, I'm sure you've seen a video, unfortunately, with this face. But I'm all over. I do all the videos. I do all the social media. And I actually did go to the Fantasy Football Expo. I met a bunch of you guys over there. And I got to say, I think it's probably one of my favorite expos I've ever been to. I've been to a lot of marketing and, different industries. Different expos, and everybody felt like a family there, and it was honestly the funnest as well. I know that's not a word, but it was.
And
the most
just
fun.
So you folks know, for the first time in his life, Davin is heading across the pond next week to go to London, England. So enjoy yourself there, Davin. Really find a little time away from work to do some things, even if it's just hitting a pub. But in the meantime, we're going to talk about what pros versus Joes do. We're each going to pick a sleeper and a bust. And that's based on the top 12 quarterbacks and tight ends and top 24 running backs and wide receivers. And I have to wait until Tuesday to get those rankings provided to these folks. So they literally had 2 days to put together just one. They only have to pick out one, but we're tracking it for the year. And so far this year, the hosts are outdoing the pros and Joes 4-2. All right. So we're doing
no pressure.
Yeah, well,
until this week.
Well, we'll see how they do this week. So, Gina, you get to run first. Who is your sleeper for this week and why?
So I am going to go with actually somebody who I was picking up in drafts in some of the later rounds. He was somebody who I felt was in a great position with the Tennessee Titans, and that is Alec Aominer. Is that how you say his name?
Manor, right? But okay.
What is it? Aominer?
I think so, but I don't know.
Aominer. I really love everything that he has been doing. I feel like he has a great rapport with Cam Ward. I feel like while Calvin Ridley is still the wide receiver one, I do feel like Alec is nipping at his heels. He had a really big game this past week, and I feel like he's just going to continue to grow with the Titans and with that rapport with Cam. So I definitely am excited about Aominer, and I have him on several of my leagues to start the season, but he definitely was a favorite waiver wire out of mine for sure.
Well, that's what makes you a pro, is you're in several leagues. And Joe, Davin, who is your sleeper?
So my sleeper is somebody that I actually watched a little bit in college, and he is a rookie, and I think he's going to be a very exciting person to watch, and he's already been very exciting to watch. It's going to be Isaac Tisla from the Lions. So I know he hasn't had that many plays yet, but I have some reasoning behind this. So obviously that one-handed catch he made last week, that was amazing. But beyond that, he is also one of the highest PFF. He has one of the highest PFF grades among Lions players. So that's big. Looking at his snap counts week over week, week 1, he had 2 snaps. Week 2, he had 17. I think they're going to really start using him a lot more week over week. So I'm banking on him being used a lot more week over week. And I think his 2 touches that he does have or receptions that he does have are both touchdowns as well. So that's obviously a good sign. And then
they're playing except the second one was not a touchdown. He went out like on the 3 or 5 yard line. But okay, it was an amazing catch. Both those catches are up for catch of the year already.
100%. And then the only other thing is they're playing my favorite team, the Baltimore Ravens. And, watching the Ravens, being a Ravens fan, I know we don't right now. We have I think 2 or 3 defensive corners out and 1 safety out. We also I think because of that, also they're going to be mostly focusing on Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamison Williams. So most likely Tesla will be in single coverage most of the time. And then the other fact I said, I did a little research. The other fact I thought was really interesting was 60% of the Ravens defensive backs are below 6 foot. And that tallest defensive back is 6'1". So he's 6'4". So I think his size is really going to be a weapon there as well.
I can't disagree. And as a Lions fan, I love that pick. I'd like to see him getting 5 to 7 targets though each week, and he's not doing that yet.
I think it's a gamble, but they've also, I've heard a lot of talks that they're going to be starting to use him a lot.
Campbell says he's had 2 opportunities. He's converted both of them. We're going to give him more.
Yeah, so I'm hoping this is the time, especially with the Ravens not being so heavy with their pass defense.
And he does block on the running plays, which also gets rookies on the field.
Because he's physical, he's huge.
We got to go to Rick. Who do you got?
Well, I'm also going to go for a player a little bit out there a bit. So, and unfortunately, it hurts my heart because he's going up against my Houston Texans. Bashal Tutin, running back from Jacksonville Jaguars. Houston has a great defense, but so far. They've been easy to run against and just a lot tougher to pass against. So I think they're going to give up more running yards to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They've given up 169 total yards so far to Tampa Bay last week, and then they gave up 62 yards and a touchdown to Kyron Williams in week 1. They've allowed an average of 4.9 yards per touch against running backs this year. It's still early, but we're going to start to watch more of that trend go forward. Meanwhile, Tootin has his usage increased from 6.1% in week 1 to 25.4% in week 2. ETN had a great first game, but slumped in week 2. Tank Bigsby's out in Philadelphia, so I really do think this is an opportunity for Tootin to make another step forward. By the way, he's got 2.54 yards per touch, which is 9th in the league. Trey Benson's first with 7.44. So this is going to be, as
Can
I
you
said,
tell me that number again? I thought you said 2.54. I know it's more than that.
no, 6.54 yards per touch.
Okay.
And he's got 1.27 PPR points per touch, and that's second behind A-Chain. So good numbers. Hopefully we'll be able to, well, I mean, as a Texan fan, hopefully he slumps, but I have a feeling he's going to have a good game this week.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised you didn't go with your Texans, boy. I really like that Woody Marks kid, but I went for the low-hanging fruit. Jordan Mason inherited the starting job when they put Aaron Jones on IR this week. He'll be out 4 weeks. So now I know that my good friend JC from the sports affiliation is very concerned about that offensive line and the fact that their starting quarterback is out for 2 to 4 weeks. I'm not. I think that Carson Wentz coming in actually improves the chances for that team because he'll make faster reads than JJ was. Neither one is, that, and the line is improving. They got their left tackle back. That always helps a lot. So, and they had a week to practice together, which a lot of those injuries happened in game. And so I'm thinking Jordan Mason is the guy to start this week. He runs hard and he's performed well. So let's go with, I'm going with that. Now, Gina, I got to ask you, who's your bust?
So my bust, I have a harder time with the bust this week, but this is somebody who was probably one of the favorite waiver wire ads from week 1. I like him a lot. I think he's going to do great things. He actually leads his team in targets. But anybody going up against the Green Bay Packers, I warn you, that defense is so good. Just say no. If you have another option, you go with another option. So Harold Fanning is my bust for the week. Not because I think he's a bust, but because I'm not playing anybody if I have another option up against that defense in Green Bay. They look so good.
Very nice. And who do you have, Davin?
So similar to Gina, I picked Josh Jacobs, not because I think he's a bust, but I think because the Browns rush defense is going to shut him down there. So when I looked, so Cleveland has one of the lowest yards per carry this year at 2.1 yards per carry. And I think Myles Garrett is really going to close all those gaps that the Packers are trying to open up and really stuff Josh Jacobs out there. Also, they've only allowed one rushing touchdown this year. I know it's only week 3, but still that has to count for something. And I think if Cleveland jumps ahead early, then Green Bay is going to be forced to just pass it, to catch up. So, I think Josh Jacobs is this week's bust.
I like that too, but I think the guy that Myles Garrett's going to scare is Jordan Love, to be honest. Guy's got 3.5 sacks already, and he got 1.5 on Lamar Jackson, which says wonders for my Aiden Hutchinson this weekend.
Yeah.
But Rick, who do you have? I think you're going with one of my stud wide receivers.
Yeah, and I struggled with this. Much like Gina said, I struggled with trying to figure out someone that I wanted to throw dirt on. But I decided to take it easy and to go after a New York Jet. I'm going after Garrett Wilson, wide receiver against Tampa Bay. Tyrod Taylor is coming in to take over as quarterback. He had a couple of years of starting for the Bills. He was in the low 60s as a completion percentage, and his touchdown numbers were 20, 17, and 14. He did come in and complete 7-11 for 56 yards and a touchdown, while he also showed a little bit of that running abilities that he had years ago. He ran 3 times for 21 yards, but I still think that he's going to struggle. I think also Wilson had 3 catches for 33 yards while Tyrod Taylor was in. But Tampa Bay's given up only the 4th fewest fantasy points to wide receivers so far. It's early in the season, so you probably can't put too much on that. But again, I'm not expecting much in the way of offense for the New York Jets. So I'll go with Garrett Wilson.
And I'm going with another wide receiver. Hunter Renfrow had an amazing week 2. But let's face it, he's only playing because Jalen Coker got hurt. That's the only reason he's actually playing. Hunter Renfrow, I think, caught 4 passes for 48 yards, which isn't good enough to do anything. He just happened to get in the end zone twice last week. How many wide receivers repeat 2 touchdown days? None of them. So, and if Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase aren't doing it, Hunter Renfrow certainly isn't. So I'm saying take Hunter Renfrow out of your lineup. And I want to thank our 2 guests for coming on tonight. We'll let you know how you did. You guys have good luck this weekend, and we'll see you on the turnaround.
Thank you. Might I just say I love the sound effects you guys have.
And Iggy, I think next up is our news segment. Somebody liked our bus picks. I couldn't read who it was from, but somebody liked them. It's good to get feedback from the audience, so let us know what you think. Rick, what do we got in the news? Because there's been a ton this week.
Yeah, there has been a ton, and unfortunately, most of it is really bad. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and just read from the injury report. No, that's not the injury report. But we do have a bunch of injuries that I'll try to go through quickly. Biggest of which, of course, and this really hurts my heart because I have him in a number of leagues, Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals quarterback. Turf toe, requiring surgery, and he hasn't even had the surgery yet. So while it's supposed to, I think they're targeting Friday now. If the swelling isn't down, that may push it out into next week. And that means pushing out, any possible return. They're saying at least 3 months. But depending on how far Cincinnati's out of it, will they?
Why bring it back? Why bring it back at all? Yep.
Yeah. So the impact of that, of course, is Jake Browning has been picked up in just about every league. That might mean a downgrade to Chase and Higgins, possibly a bump up for the running game with Chase Brown. But it's not a great day if you are a Cincinnati Bengal fan, or if you, like me, have Joe Burrow as one of your quarterbacks. And in fact, in one of my teams, in Iggy's FF7, I have the next guy as my quarterback too, Justin Fields. And he had a concussion. He's in the protocol. He is at least out for week 3. I guess it's a good thing that they declared him out so quickly. But the backup is Tyrod Taylor. He started with the Bills, and I don't think that's going to be that great of a
He
news.
didn't look real good last week. I mean, I understand your Garrett Wilson pick. Garrett Wilson is one of my stud wide receivers on one of my team, and I'm sitting him down too.
Yeah, and I think if anything, it might mean, or we'll hopefully see more in the way of Breece Hall and Braylon Allen. But yeah, I would downgrade their passing game, that's for sure. Another quarterback, Jaden Daniels, Washington Commanders. He had a sprained knee. The status for this game against the Raiders is unclear. He didn't practice yesterday or today. I think Coach Quinn said something about him mentally practicing, but he also said there would be an update after Friday's practice. That means veteran Marcus Mariota is going to be starting and downgrade every Washington Commander. Another quarterback injured, J.J. McCarthy, Minnesota Vikings.
My boy.
That's a tough one, too. He injured an ankle, expected to miss the next game, and could miss 2 to 4 weeks.
I think he got sacked 4 times in the first half alone and twice more in the second half. And he played the whole game after taping the ankle. So he tried to rough it out, but everybody's complaining about how he looks. I'm telling you, you don't get protected. I don't care who you are. You're not going to look good.
And he's a tough guy, and I think that inspires the team when someone is gutting it out like he did. Carson Wentz will be the quarterback, and you mentioned, and I agree. I think that this might be a bit of a boost for Justin Jefferson and T.J. Hawkinson. Carson Wentz has been there. Interesting tidbit that I didn't know until today. He has started at least one game for 6 different teams over the last 6 consecutive years. That's the first time in the NFL. Even Ryan Fitzpatrick didn't have that as a record. So,
that tells you that he's good enough to get on the field.
And I think he's a solid. I mean, he won a Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles, huh?
Well, I don't know if he won the Super Bowl, but he had 33 touchdowns and 7 interceptions his second year in the game. He only had 3,200 passing yards, but it was a different league back then.
Yeah, so we'll see how he obviously isn't going to be as mobile as JJ, but I agree with you. I think he gets the ball out of his hands a little faster. So I think that's going to be, provide a possible bump for the Minnesota passing game. I'll go on to running backs now. I've already, hurt myself enough with the quarterbacks. Austin Eckler was hurt in Thursday's game. He's out for the season, torn Achilles.
Some people are worrying it may be career ending.
And it could be. At his age, he's at the tail end of his career. He also has done so much for fantasy football and football in general. I think that, people are going to be rooting for him to, make his effort. He's also a gym rat, and, he's put a lot of effort throughout his career in building up his body. So, I think we're all hoping he makes it back.
Well, let me ask you, everybody loves Bill. All right. I just traded Bill for David Montgomery straight up. And I traded to my brother in my local Elgin League, and he thought I was giving him a handout. Well, my reasoning is neither Rodriguez nor Krosky Merritt are known as receiving backs or blocking backs for pass protection. But McNichols is.
I was saying McNichols is the person.
So I went out and picked up Jeremy McNichols because I think he may get a bigger role than people think in Washington. Did I make a mistake getting rid of Krosky Merritt to get David Montgomery, or was that a good move?
No, I think David Montgomery is going to be well, first of all, you're a Detroit Lions fan, so that helps there. But second of all, I think that, he's pretty much a guaranteed touchdown machine. And I think that you'll come out of it.
Well, I did turn around and offer David Montgomery to the owner of Chris Brown. because people were down on Chris Brown because of the Burrow injury.
You mean
So
Chase
if you're thinking about trading, if I could get Chris Brown for David Montgomery, I don't think anybody would say that's a bad deal. Now, it's not a keeper league, so it's just for this year. But I like Chris Brown the rest of the year.
Chase Brown, and I think that he's a top 10 running back, and so I think that would definitely be a deal I'd make. Hey, also you mentioned your sleeper Jordan Mason, and of course that means that Aaron Jones is out. He has hamstring, not likely to play. In fact, I think it's a pretty good bet he's not going to play. And
they put him on IR. He's not going to play for 4 weeks.
Good update. The backups to now Jordan Mason, little known Xavier Scott, kind of a big running back, but certainly I don't think that he's going to see the field much. I also think that they're, they've got guys like Cam Akers.
They just re-signed him.
Yeah. So
now, I know they signed him to the practice squad. Did they elevate him?
I don't know yet, and they still have time. Cam Akers knows the program, so I think that they may see him if something were to happen to Jordan Mason. So.
Or even as a backup, because nobody gets 100% of the carries if they're not named Derrick Henry.
100%. So let's go into the wide receivers now. Jaden Reed's out with the fractured collarbone. They've got a pretty deep wide receiver room. But one of the problems was that, and I think there's relatively good news coming out of it. Tucker Kraft was just came down with an injury in practice. Turns out it was a knee, but they still have to evaluate it, of course. And the last report I heard was it was just a tweak. So hopefully that means that he, if he is going to be out, it will be a short out. Although their bye week, I think, is week 5. So if he does end up having to miss some time, it might be a few weeks. So we'll have to keep an eye on that.
He's playing on the road, but on a grass stadium in Cleveland. So that's got to help the knee a little bit, being on real turf, not on artificial.
And sure, and he had such a huge game last week that he'll want to get back out there. A couple of the wide receivers to look at. Mecca Agbuka has hip and groin injuries. He didn't practice yesterday or today. If he ends up being out, of course, that means more focus on Mike Evans. Godwin and McMillan are already injured. So the backups there are veteran Sterling Shepard, and then Tez Johnson and Ryan Miller, who had a touchdown last week.
Mike Evans will get a lot more.
And definitely. Yeah. And then, of course, I'll also see some more passing to the running back as well. Jalen Waddle, shoulder injury, but he's expected to play. So that's pretty much it from injury and news report.
Okay, well, we're going to start a little early with our AI segment then, which is always good. Get a couple extra minutes on AI. Iggy? Grinning, smiling, Tipp Major.
What's up, fellas? How are you guys?
Hey, guys. Week 2 saw our first perfect slate. I slammed it, baby.
Yeah, you did, Greg. You got them. You got them all right. Like, you were perfect, like you said. And Rick, you weren't bad at it yourself.
Well, Rick didn't do it. It was Joe Carlton. It was.
Yeah, I'll take credit for it, though. I was sending him memo thoughts of who we should be taking.
Rick took
well, you know what? I'm just going to chalk this one up to a weird week. Myself and Krog, we both got all of them wrong. I will say, look, Sir Whittington.
Yeah, he keeps calling him Whittington. I keep calling him Whittington. We had this discussion. He's changing the name. Why are you changing the name?
Well, because you know what? He hasn't won anything yet, Greg. He hasn't won a single thing.
Whittington from now on. Okay.
Like, it's Whittington
but if
until
he starts
you win.
winning, it's going back to Whittington.
It's going to go back to Whittington. And you know what? But Sir Whittington last week, he came through. He is at 6 total points. Krog and myself are at total 8 points. So we are behind the 8 ball right now. But this week's going to be interesting because, guys, all 3 of us agreed. So I'm curious to see what you 2 said, because when the AIs came out with their rankings, I was like, please have Tyler Algier, because our 3 players this week are Tyler Algier of the Atlanta Falcons, DJ Moore of the Chicago Bears, and Jake Tonges. Like, how many of us would have thought we would have said his name at the beginning of this season? We were all at the Fantasy Football Expo. Not one person said the name Jake Tonges.
Well, nobody expected Kittle to go out early in the season, and Purdy to go out. But the way these guys are chosen is I go out and I look at a tight end that's outside the top 12 and has scored a certain amount of points. Tongas has scored 17.8 so far this year. That's not very good. That's a little bit over 6.9. It's a little under 7 per game. So I went out and I looked for a running back and a wide receiver that had scored about the same. Tyler Algier has scored 17.4, actually 0.4 of a point less than Tongas. And Tongas didn't play a lot in that first week because he did score, but he didn't play a lot because Kittle was healthy when they started. And I went with DJ Moore because he has just sucked this year. I mean, he scored 18.2 points. So they're all basically within 0.8 of a point of each other for the year. Now, I would have thought DJ Moore would be the easy pick here, but is he?
Well, so as far as myself and the 2 AIs, Krog and Sir Whittington, we all have DJ Moore at the number 1 slot this week. And Greg, I have to believe that the reason that it's because of that is because they still think that he is a reliable number 1. I would argue that he's like a 1B to a 1A Roma Dunze possibly. But I would say this, though. They use him everywhere on the field. In the first game, they used him in the backfield 3 times. Now, they went away from it last week. So I'm a little curious to see what they're going to do there. But I think this is a get-right game for DJ Moore. Roma Dunze is going to do what Roma Dunze does. Caleb Williams is going to do what Caleb Williams does, because they're going against a secondary who, in the lack of a better word, is one of the worst in the league. They're already averaging over 280 yards to receivers in this league, in this early part of the season. So that right there tells me that this could be a get-right game for them. And you know what? I think sky's the limit for all of them. And on the flip side of that, I know we're not talking about the Dallas Cowboys as any of the players, but the Chicago Bears need to be talked about. Their defense is terrible. Right now, they're giving up 39.5 points per game and over 230 yards receiving. So this is going to be one of those shootout situations. I understand that there is a little bit of a weather. It's supposed to be some rain, about 50% chance right now. That can change. All I'm concerned about is wind in that situation. Rain, it might get mucked up a little bit. They might turn into a little bit of a slop fest, a running game, but I still think points will be on the board this week. And that's how we all have it ranked for DJ Moore. As far as Tyler Algier, what we all said was Tyler Algier last week came on strong. And it was basically the situation, the game, how this game scripted out. Minnesota couldn't do anything offensively, which you got to give shout outs to the Atlanta Falcons defense. They're slowly becoming a really good defense that's taking the pressure away from that offense by keeping teams under 15 points a game right now so far in this young season. So you got to give a shout out to that defense. I think this is a situation where it's a divisional game. Yes, Carolina Panthers will come out there and try to play strong, play hard. But look at Tyler Algier's record versus the Carolina Panthers. Look at Bijan Robinson's stats against the Carolina Panthers. Both of them have successful games against them. So it's one of those situations where Tyler Algier might go off. Bijan Robinson's going to go off. They're going to lean on the run game because they're also running the ball 33.5 times a game. They're going to lean heavily on this run game because Michael Penix and this offense is still trying to get on board, still trying to get on track. And that's the way we have it for for Tyler Algier. We all have it across the board. Now, as far as Jake Tonjes goes, what we have for Jake Tonjes is that, yes, he is a filler, a bye week filler, or a injury filler in this case, because what he has done is he's been on the field with the team. Now, I will say this. One thing that I noted on Jake Tonjes was he's going to be on the field quite a bit because of his blocking prowess. That's what he's known for. That's what he's good at. So Kyle Shanahan trusts him as far as from a blocking standpoint. I did read I listened to a interview with Kyle Shanahan, and everybody was making fun of, or he was making fun of Tonjes because that route that he ran prior to getting the touchdown was the wrong route. It was a route that they had been working on constantly with George Kittle. George Kittle ends up getting banged up. Tonjes comes in. They said, hey, do you think he can run the route? He said he thinks he can, and he ran the wrong route. He caught the ball, but he ran the wrong route. So that's another thing in and of itself, that is there a full-on trust factor with Kyle Shanahan and Jake Tonjes? You also have Luke Farrell there, and then they also have another tight end that they picked up. The name is missing me. I believe his first name is Brandon. But anyway, they also have another tight end there. And you also got Kyle Juszczyk, guys. Kyle Juszczyk is one of those guys who always is just a pest. He's always that guy that, when you least expect it, you're never going to have him on your fantasy radar or fantasy teams. But when you least expect it, he's going to do some work. He's going to do some damage. And with George Kittle out, he's going to be helping blocking, of course, but he also can get let loose for a catch or two as well, which can take some away from Jake Tonjes as well. So that's one of the things that we're looking at with Tonjes. I think that it's more of a volume-based thing with him. And I think that all three of us, the AIs and myself, are a little nervous because he's still not commanding a full load of or a full snap count like whenever George Kittle would be there.
Yeah, although I the one thing, I think Kyle Juszczyk had a concussion, didn't he? So he may not be playing.
Who's that?
Kyle Juszczyk, with the fullback for the 49ers.
Okay. But Tip, all three of you went wide receiver, running back.
We all three win it. Yep.
Okay. So what did you do, Rick?
Of those three, I actually like all three. So this is going to be a fun one. I think I would go DJ Moore. I think the Carolina game is Carolina-Atlanta game is going to be a low-scoring play. So I would tend to think that they're going to lean a little bit more heavily on Bijan.
No, he said it's Bijan. He said grandma and mom like Bijan, but he likes Bijan.
Awesome. Okay, I'll go back to it because I like it a whole lot better. Don't want it to sound like some sort of French mustard. So I think Bijan's going to have a better, much more usage in this game. I like DJ Moore. I think that Caleb's going to have a big game. I think Rome Odunze is going to have a big game. I think that DJ Moore's going to have a big game in this one. And I actually think that the 49ers are going to have a shot at the end zone. I think Mac Jones is not that bad of a quarterback, and I think he will look at the tight end. So I think that all three could have good games, but I would go DJ Moore, then I would go Tonjes, and then I would go Algiers.
Now, it did show that Juszczyk, thank you for saying that about Juszczyk too, Rick, but it did say that he was limited, but he still needs to, pass the 5-step concussion protocol, but he was limited. I don't know if that was today or yesterday, but they just say for status and participation in practice, it says limited.
If he's limited in practice, that means that he has passed at least 2 of the protocols.
Nice.
Right.
So I actually went out and looked to see what the protocols were because I had no idea. But you can Google it and it'll tell you what the 5 steps are. But one of them is basically being able to stand up with no symptoms. Another one is to do some cardio work. And even if you're limited in cardio work, you're doing cardio work when you're limited. So if he was a limited participant, he's at least passed 2 of them. So
gotcha. Great. Hey, so it looks like at least 2 of us want the wide receiver of this. I guess it's
actually 4 of you want the wide receiver to come number 1.
Oh, that's right.
There's 2 AIs, Tip, and you. And I'm giving you all a chance to catch up to me because I'm going to go with Tyler Algier. I told you last week, typically in these situations, when it's all pretty even, I like the option of the running back. Well, the running back here's a backup, change of pace guy. And Bijan is one of the best. I expect Robinson to have a huge game. I really do. But I expect Atlanta to blow out Carolina. Now, I know it's in Carolina, and that makes it harder for them. But if they get a big lead, you're going to see a lot of Tyler Algier. And that's what I'm counting on is 15 to 20 touches for Algier. If he gets 15 to 20 touches, I just haven't seen anything from DJ Moore that makes me trust him. I haven't seen very much from Caleb Williams that makes me trust him. Now, Dallas defense did give up a ton to Russ Wilson and his receivers. But Russ Wilson's a better quarterback, even in his waning years, than Caleb Williams is right now. He just is. Williams has a good arm. Don't get me wrong. He can throw. He can't read defenses. So he doesn't always – he throws very well to Rome Odunze. And that's what Andy said in the Black and Blue is that Chicago has one thing working for them this year, and that is Rome Odunze. You know, Caleb DeRome is clicking, and it's going to continue clicking because he's got comfort in it. DJ Moore, go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's got to continue to click, yes. But I think that if they want this offense to be successful, they're going to have to get DJ Moore involved. More involved. So that's going to be something that has to happen. And what better week to do it than against the Dallas Cowboys? I'm telling you, this team cannot stop anyone. And it's evident of the first 2 weeks. It's evident because there's no Micah Parsons. There's really no pass rush. There's really no pressure going towards it. Although they did get 3 sacks last week, but I think that was because Russell Wilson was throwing so much. And that offensive line was so when you're throwing that much, you're going to be susceptible. You're susceptible to.
That's all you got to say. Just say Aiden.
Well, Aiden Hutchinson too. Yeah,
he didn't get all the sacks. He got 1, but he did provide enough pressure that the other guys got freed up, and he drew double teams the entire time. So I really wanted to go with Tongas over DJ Moore because I really don't like DJ Moore right now. But Tongas is only getting 4 looks a game. He's not getting that many targets, so I just can't trust him. So I went running back, wide receiver, tight end. But before we leave the segment, we got to mention why Tip is calling in from his car. He's going to a softball game when we let him go because his daughter Lauren is actually playing today. Is she in the car with you?
No. She's not in the car. She's actually practicing outside right now with the team. But no.
What position does she play?
She's gonna pitch today, but she's done it all, man. She's
slow or fast.
She's been out on shortstop. It's they're 10, so I don't know. I don't know what you would call. I don't know, but they pitch the ball. I know that they pitch it, but I would say it's fast. Yeah, I would say it's fast.
Basically, got an arc.
Oh, no. This is winding up. The girls are winding up for sure.
So it's fast pitch.
Yeah, it's a fast pitch.
Hey,
yeah,
Lauren,
sure. they
knock
getting
him
it
dead,
over there.
Lauren. No hitter, baby girl.
Yeah, no, like a couple of tournaments ago, she struck out 5 batters in 1 game. So that was pretty cool. So, yeah, it was pretty dope, man. So hopefully she does really well tonight. I know she's excited, and I am too.
Takes after her daddy. He's an athlete, too.
I'm football, basketball. Baseball was not my sport at all.
It didn't have to be. You were an athlete. You know what it takes.
I could get up and down the field in the court back in the day.
Okay, well that's it for our AI segment. We're going to say adieu to Tip so he can go watch his daughter play. Family first always, Tip. Take care. Peace. Thanks for coming in. Actually, I think you wanted to put in the mailbag for us, Iggy. Rick, before we dig deep into the mailbox, do we have anything in the chat? Any questions out of the chat at this time?
I'm taking a look, and a lot of people saying hi and excited about Tipp, of course, but I don't see any questions. I'll keep an eye on it though. But
all right, Mel, we like Cam Akers, but we don't think he's going to do a whole lot this week. Would you agree, Rick?
Oh God, yeah. Cam Akers is.
He may not even be active.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be rushing out to add him to your roster if that's what you're thinking of now.
Okay, so from Iris Sorensen, she wants to know Brock Bowers, who's questionable at Washington, or Travis Kelce at the New York Giants. Who do you got?
Ooh, gee, that's a good one because Bowers played last week. I mean, we were all worried that he was not going to even play.
Was he playing?
He played last
week. I couldn't tell. I mean, I didn't see him that much. And when I did, he was always limping.
Well, and Travis Kelce hasn't really had made a significant impact. Of course, the way Travis Kelce plays is that, we wait till the playoffs and then we, put more of an effort in there. But I think I'm going to go with Bowers just because I know the upside with Bowers is so huge. And I think Travis Kelce is probably 3 or 4 for 50, 60 yards, which in tight end business, that's a great performance. But Bowers is your potential 100 and touchdown.
Yeah, my problem is that it's hard for me to forget how good Travis Kelce was. And I still like Pat Mahomes an awful lot. This was very tough for me. They're both on the road. So what I did was I looked at the defenses, and to me, if you look at it, New York is just an easier defense to run on, to throw on, to do everything on than Washington is. So I'm actually going with Kelce. So we have been absolutely no help to Iris on this one. From Blake Anderson, Daniel Jones where's Daniel Jones playing at this week? I don't remember. Indianapolis. Who are they playing?
Tennessee.
Thank you. At Tennessee. Oh, I see what I did. When I put it on one line, there's no space between the or and the TEN. So on my notes, I've got Tennessee, tenor. Daniel Jones, the tenor, or Pat Mahomes at the New York Giants. That's a tough one, Rick. Who you got? Who would have thought?
Yeah, I was going to say, Danny Dimes was everyone's enemy, but now all of a sudden he's had good games, and all of a sudden things are exciting. You got to go with Pat Mahomes, though.
I don't. I absolutely don't. Daniel Jones is the second-ranked quarterback in fantasy this year, and he's done it against 2 good defenses. He has not played a bad defense yet. Pat Mahomes, he's getting Xavier Worthy back this week. We think. We don't know for sure, but Xavier Jones in both Tuesday and Wednesday, limited participant in practice, which means he's probably going to play. All right? We don't know for sure. He may take another week off. But if he gets a full practice in, he's definitely playing. And if he's limited the next 2 days, there's a chance he's playing. And that will help Mahomes because it'll give him more of a deep threat. It really will. But I got to say, Daniel Jones has looked very good. I like what Josh Downs is doing. He was taken off the injury report. He was questionable early, but today he was moved to healthy. So Josh Downs will be playing. Michael Pittman, he should actually get open deep against Tennessee. Tennessee shouldn't be able to stop the deep ball the way I figured Denver would shut Pittman down. I think this week Pittman is underrated. Last week I told you to sit Pittman because I thought Denver's pressure would prevent any long passes. And
Wow.
Jones did throw a lot of short passes, and they ran the ball a lot. You know, you got to admit, Jonathan Taylor looks like the Jonathan Taylor of old. So I'm going Daniel Jones this week. He's got the running that Pat Mahomes really doesn't do. Pat Mahomes has ran this year. Don't get me wrong, he has ran, but he's not real good at it. He doesn't like to do it, and Jones doesn't mind. He throws that big body around. Didn't he get 2 quarterback sneak touchdowns in week 1?
Yeah, and Danny Jones has always been a decent running back. I mean, there's that one play where, of course, he ran, 80 yards and then started to stumble towards the end zone. But he's always been a good running quarterback. The one thing that, and I saw it in the chat, I think, was that, questions about the Chiefs running game. And I'm starting Isaiah Pacheco because I think this is going to be, the game that he breaks out. So I actually am liking the Chiefs and liking the Chiefs big. So I'll still stick with Pat Mahomes.
I got to say, if Pacheco doesn't break out this week, you guys should go out and get Brashard Smith. Kareem Hunt, we know what he is. Brashard Smith is a small back. He's only 198 pounds, but nobody's got him. He's available everywhere. And if Pacheco doesn't have a good game against the Giants, it's time to put him in the bag because I just don't think the Chiefs can go with him any longer if he continues playing the way he's played the first 2 weeks. Anything from the – oh, here you go. Sports affiliation. Do you know who sent it? They're asking Romeo Doubs or Jalen Waddle. Waddle was also questionable earlier, but he's been removed from the injury
report. That's tonight, so you have to make that decision quick. And in fact, I'm starting Jalen Waddle. Of course, Miami looks really bad, but they're going to have to pass. They're going to have to throw the ball. I'm not in on Tyreek Hill, so I think Waddle, he says he's playing, so I think you have to go with him.
I think it's a tough call. I think it's a tough call with Jalen Reed down. Romeo Doubs becomes the number 1. I mean, you might say Matthew Golden, but he hasn't got enough targets to even justify that thought. So I think Romeo Doubs, who's got some experience, becomes the number 1. The problem I have with starting Doubs is Myles Garrett. 3.5 sacks in 2 games, 1.5 against Aaron Jackson. He's coming after quarterback Jordan Love. He's coming after Love, and I think he's going to cause Love some problems. So I would probably agree with you. Go with Jalen Waddle in this one.
And also you have to look out, whether or not Kraft is able to play this weekend. A player I like also in the Packers wide receiver room is Dontavian Wicks. So if you're looking
he stays healthy, I like him and Watson.
Getting drops. But I do like Dontavian Wicks. So I think that, that's one of the challenges with the Green Bay Packers wide receiver room is you have to hit on the wide receiver that's going to be hot that game.
Yeah, you do. And it's hard to predict.
And I think Waddle's going to, if healthy, and it appears he is, I think he's due for a big game.
What happened to the days of Devontae Adams and Sterling Sharp? I mean, we knew those guys were going to score. All right, from Devin Ziegler, can't believe I'm saying this, but Indiana Jones at Tennessee or Jordan Love at Cleveland? Okay, I'm going to give you mine first so you can respond to it. I have Jordan Love as my bust on Crackle at quarterback because I do think Myles Garrett is unblockable right now.
The Cleveland defense is tough.
Yeah, the Cleveland defense is tough. So I'm sitting him. And Daniel Jones is the number 2 quarterback against 2 good defenses. He hasn't been playing bad teams. Tennessee is not a great defense. They're not terrible, but they're middle of the pack. If he can do what he did against Denver, he can do it against Tennessee. I'm going with Indiana Jones. I should have gotten a thing for Iggy to play Indiana Jones theme song for that.
And I didn't mention it in the injury report, but Tennessee, I think, is minus one of their. Oh, I'm sorry, no, it's the Tampa Bay Calijay can't see. So, so anyway, but I do agree. I think that I would be going with Daniel Jones on this particular play.
You're going with Danny too.
Oh,
Danny
yeah.
Dimes. Double.
Against Jordan Love, that's for sure.
Okay, who covers the 12.5 spread? Buffalo does. If Miami's within 2 touchdowns, I'll be amazed. I really will. 13, I don't think they get 2 touchdowns. I think they lose by more than 14 easily.
Yeah,
Right?
and right now things are clicking in Buffalo. Even with the backup kicker who's looking awfully good. So, I think this is going to be one of those games where Miami fans are going to have to kind of close their eyes and think about next year already. But
McDaniels may be done. He just may be done.
And that was the answer to the question: who's going to be the first coach on the hot seat? So that's a good.
He's definitely on the hot seat. From Ron Havlick, Alec Aomaner versus Indiana at home against Indiana, or Troy Franklin at the Chargers. Chargers have much better defense, but I think Franklin is a much better receiver, and he's getting the targets. He got 15 targets in 2 games and made 12 catches. I'm going with Franklin here. Who are you going with?
Troy Franklin as well. He came into the league with the quarterback.
Bo Nix.
Yeah, they both came in from Oregon. And last year it was pretty quiet, and there was also a lot of other wide receivers that were taking up attention. But so far he's built a really good chemistry with Nix, and I would also go with Troy Franklin. In fact, I am. So
from Mo Ganem, Quentin Johnston versus Denver, or Xavier Worthy at New York Giants. Matchup obviously favors Worthy, but again, we don't even know if he's playing at this point. I got to go with Quentin Johnston, who I think is real. I don't think he's over all the drops. I think he may still have some lapses of concentration, but he's got a great quarterback who can throw against anybody. You give Herbert time, and Justin will cut you to pieces. He is that good. Xavier Worthy, yes, Pat Mahomes is a great quarterback too, but again, we don't even know if he's playing. And as my good friend, Mr. Engel, Scott the King Engel says, when in doubt, go with the healthy player. What do you say, Rick?
The best ability is availability. So that's right. That's correct. But I tell you, this is one of the things. Well, first of all, I think Ladd's playing, so that there's going to be competition for.
And Keenan too. He's got competition every
Keenan
week.
Allen, and I think that they're going to run the ball more. So you do have to worry about how many looks that Quentin Johnston's going to have. And you have to look at the upside of Xavier Worthy. So that's going to be a tough one. I do agree that you want to make sure you're going to play the guy that's going to be playing, and today's Thursday, and I guess we don't have to make this decision until Saturday. But if Worthy's playing, I don't think they're sending him out there just to be a kind of like a long diversion. I think that he's the player I would go, based on him playing.
Okay, so my concern is they ease him back. He's still got a torn labrum. I don't think they give him a full workload there. Is there anything in the chat, or are we ready to close up?
The Romeo Dobbs, are you guys starting Tua tonight? And the answer to that is always no.
My concern about Tua is simple, Dennis. It's that he's one hit away from ending his career. His head has been banged so much, I just can't go with him. And that Buffalo defense is very good.
In fact, I had that decision that it was Wentz or Tua. and I went Wentz. So
Yep. So
There you go.
I can understand that. That's it for our show. We'll be back next week. But please, if you like this, like and subscribe. Give us a follow. We're both on Twitter. We got our Twitter handles down there for you to look at. And go to the YouTube channel for the sports affiliation and subscribe, because we're always looking for more people to help us out. And I'm still looking for some Joes. So if you want to appear on the show, I've got a couple openings left. Reach out.
Night, everyone.
Night.